What is up, all of you awesome and amazing people on YouTube? The old Coot here, coming at you with another exciting video. This is part 2 of my Pane de Spagna video. Let me show you what's going on. So a friend of mine that I gave the recipe to tried to make the cake, the Pane de Spagna. It just came out horrendously. They modified it, they altered it, they left stuff out, they started adding in their own stuff. And this is what happened. Basically, the structure of the cake broke, all the eggs settled to the bottom, and they ended up with this, which is like a very, I don't know what the heck they were doing. But anyways, I'm going to do it the way that I make it so that there's no confusion at all. And hopefully, if you're doing this and you're following this at home, hit that like button, hit the comment section down there below. Let me know that you've actually done it and tried it and how good the cake came out and all that good stuff. Okay, so equipment. Let's talk about equipment first. I've got a 6-quart Kitchenaid stand mixer. You could use whatever mixer you want. It could be a 4 or 5 quart, makes no difference. But basically what you're trying to do is you're going to be beating your liquids for about 15 minutes. So just, if you want to use a hand mixer, you can. Just know that you're going to be beating the eggs and the liquids for 15 minutes. Then always have a good microplaner, right? This one's from Italy. You can use the oxo gurgles, it's totally fine. You're going to be zesting a lemon. And then you want to have a good scale, a good kitchen scale that's very accurate. I like the digital ones. They just work the best for me. You're also going to need some measuring spoons, right? Make sure you get a tablespoon, a teaspoon, half teaspoon, and then a quarter teaspoon. You're also going to need the silicone spatula to be scraping things out of the mixer when you put it into the butt pan and all that good stuff. Which brings me to this section. So now what you want is, you do want to have a couple bowls on hand so that you can weigh your dry ingredients, but also another bowl so that you can pour it into the sifter, which is another thing you need to have so that you can catch all of the sifting action that's going on. And then the star of the show is basically the bundt pan. You could use whatever pan you want. I've seen Pane de Spagna made in the round pans. I like to use the bundt pan. I feel like the rise, you just get a nice shape and all that, and the cake comes out nice and all that good stuff. But anyways, you get the idea. This one's a Nordic Ware. This is the bundt pan. I will put a link to all the equipment down there below in the description. So now let's talk about the actual ingredients. What actually goes into the cake? I mentioned this in the video part 1, but let's do it again here just to make sure. So what I've gotten here is I've got 8 eggs that were at room temperature before I cracked them in. I should have done it on camera, but I was just it was a mess. But anyways, 8 eggs that are in here already. I also put in 1 teaspoon, that's 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And I also put the zest, right? The zest of that lemon. So 1 teaspoon of the lemon juice, right? And then get the zest of the lemon in there as well. And you don't have to use all of the zest, maybe like half a side of the lemon if you're using like your average size, lemon, which is maybe like half the size of your hand or whatever. Anyways, so that's what's in there now. Now I'm going to add the sugar. So let me go ahead and go into mixing mode so I can use both hands. So bowl on top of my measuring thingy-majiggy. I'm going to brain dead here. Sorry. I want to measure out 250 grams of sugar. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we go. Almost there, 150. Usually I nail it pretty good, but let's see. And always do this off of your main bowl. See, I could have. I'll explain that to you in a second. Let me get 252. Close enough. Okay. So always do this in a side bowl, right? You never want to do this directly into that bowl, because if you over sugar it, it's kind of hard to get the sugar back out again. But anyways, here's our 250 of sugar. So we're going to do that. Get that in there. Make sure you get every last little bit. So remember, in here to recap, there are 8 eggs that were at room temperature, 8 whole eggs. That's yolk and whites together, 8 whole eggs. You have 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and you have the zest, right? Using your zester microplaner, you have the zest of let's say half of the fresh lemon. So that's what's in there now. I'm going to go ahead and lift, and I'm going to start out slow on the mixer, like just as a 1, just to kind of make sure that everything's going. Then I'm going to go 2, eventually 3, and 4. There we go. So we're going to let this sit for let it run for about 10 to 15 minutes or so. We'll check back on that in a second. In the meantime, let me show you what the next phase of the process is going to be, because this might take longer than it's going to take for me to explain the rest of the stuff. So the next step in the process is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add vanilla. I'm going to add 1 full teaspoon, right? A teaspoon of vanilla. And a little bit of this goes a long way. This is Vanilla Bean Kings. This is their vanilla bean paste. I believe they also make a Madagascar vanilla that's a little bit stronger. They also, I think they sell whole vanilla beans, if I don't make a mistake. But whatever vanilla you decide to use, make sure it's a good quality one, because the better the vanilla, obviously the better the final cake's going to taste. And there you go. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add literally a 1/4 teaspoon. So the smallest one I have, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, right? Salt is like the train. It's the delivery mechanism to get the flavor to your taste buds. So this will be the next phase after my eggs have beaten. So after my eggs have beaten to about medium peaks, right? So not soft peaks, but about medium peaks. And this will take about 15 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes. So in the meantime, let me go ahead and measure out the flour and the cornstarch. Let me get this over here. So what I've got for dry ingredients is I've got cornstarch, which helps to add to the light, fluffy airiness of the cake. And then what we're going to use 200 grams of this. And then we're going to use 50 grams of flour. The flour that I like to use is, it's called Kyrol. It's basically a type of flour that has a lot of protein in it. And what you want is a high protein flour so that it creates the structure for the air bubbles that are in there to expand and fill up like a balloon. So that's why you want to use the flour is for the structure, the cornstarch is for the light airiness. So let's go ahead and measure this out. So we need 200 grams of cornstarch. I'm going to zero out my bowl again just to make sure. Let me tear it and make sure we're on grams again. So we need 200 grams of cornstarch. And again, just do this as gingerly as you can. Here we go, because remember, we are going to be sifting all this afterwards. So see if I can get close. Some ASMR action going with the motor. Oh, so close. Okay. 199. Let's go on, baby. It's like, this is the dangerous part. This is when you're not sure if you should like shake in another little schmutz. I'm going to do this instead. And almost. There you go, 200. Okay, good enough for me. Okay, so 200 grams of cornstarch just went in. Remember, this is for the lightness, the airiness, the fluffiness. This is what helps the final pan de Spagna rise. And remember, there are different recipes for this. So this is my way. I'm from Sicily, Italy. So this is my way of doing this. Other regions will only use flour. I think if you do that, you're just going to get a more dense cake, and it's not going to rise as much. So the cornstarch is what really helps it to rise. Okay, so now what I need is I need 50 grams of flour. So I'm going to tear my scale again. And 50 grams is basically like a half a cup if you want to, measure that way. But it's always good to use a digital scale just so that you get more accurate. So 50 grams of this is what I want in there. We're almost there. And let's see where we're at, 46. A little bit at a time. There you go, there's 50. Perfect, boom, right on the dot. Okay, so then the last ingredient, the last dry ingredient anyways, which is the start of the show, is the baking soda. It's the combination of the teaspoon of lemon juice, right, that's in there, and the baking soda causing that chemical reaction that's going to cause an explosion, right? Gas is going to form, and that's basically what's going to get your cake to be more airy, lighter, fluffer. You get the idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1 teaspoon, right? One full teaspoon of baking soda. And if you were curious what 1 teaspoon of baking soda weighs, let's go ahead and do that. Just so you can kind of see if you really want to get more accurate. So here's 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm just going to shake it in. That weighs about 7 grams. So there you go. So 7 grams, a little bit more. Something got stuck in there. Is it 8? No, so we're still at 7. Okay. So it's 8 grams. It's somewhere between 7 and 8 grams is what 1 teaspoon of baking soda basically comes out to. So there you go. So now what I want to do is I want to sift this. So let me go ahead and shut this off real quick. Come on, baby. Okay, there we go. So let me shut this off, move this to the side. Wipe my hands as I go. Always a good idea to have a good kitchen towel on hand too. Never know when you need one. So let me bring over my bowl with my sifter. And then now what I want to do is I want to sift this. You could sift it twice if you wanted to. I just do it once. You know, I already kind of know what's going to be happening here. So here we go. So I'm sifting away. Basically what you're doing is you're mixing the cornstarch with the flour. I have to do this in batches. There we go. Let's go ahead and sift away. It's like a dust cloud. Okay, so as long as you got most of it, you're good to go. That's fine. Just want to make sure you shake out any excess. Might have been in there. That's good enough for me. Okay. Right? Can't get it perfect, but as long as you get it good enough for you, that's all that matters. Okay, real world problems call for real world solutions. Okay, so now that my flour and cornstarch is sifted and baking soda, right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk really quickly and then we'll pause and I'll come back with video part 3 in this series to show everybody. So my eggs are still beating away. Right, and like I said, this process usually takes between 10 and 15 minutes. What I'm looking for is medium peaks, and then I'll be back with the next video part 3, when I add the salt and I add the vanilla bean. So stay tuned for the next video. Go ahead and comment in the comment section down there below if you're following along, if everything is working out smoothly for you too. Hit that like button in the description section down there below. I will put some links to the products that I'm using, the mixer, the spatula, the sifter, whatever else I can find, I'll put down there below in the description. Like button, subscribe button, and I will catch you all on the next exciting video.